Hey, what's up everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to Karpo Gaming and another PlayStation 5 gaming news video. Now I don't know how you feel about Square Enix game nowadays, but if you are a fan of Final Fantasy XIV Online, get excited because tomorrow there's a brand new beta coming to the PlayStation 5. That's right, tomorrow ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'll show you everything that you need to know about the beta. So if at any given time you found this video helpful or entertaining, please by all means follow, like, and subscribe on all social media platforms, but especially on YouTube. Definitely help this video get out there in the YouTube algorithm. And don't forget that giveaway is going to end in just 4 days for the Outriders giveaway. Links down below in the description. Now, the Final Fantasy XIV beta is here, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting a bunch of free stuff that you can try, even if you're on a PlayStation 4, but especially if you're on a PlayStation 5. Here's everything you need to know about the Final Fantasy XIV Online beta. Now, we had this before when we was upgrading from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, and now we get to do it all over again by getting a free beta on the PlayStation 5. But what exactly is included in this? Well, that's what this video today is all about. As the PlayStation 5 beta starts tomorrow, and it's going to have a whole bunch of new things like sharper graphics, faster frame rates, and even shorter loading times. And guess what? We're going to have that haptic feedback for the PlayStation 5 controller as well. Now, the PlayStation 5 version of Final Fantasy XIV is going to be pretty freaking awesome. And according to today's PlayStation blog, this new version will run at 1440 at 60 frames per second. That's basically 4K, ladies and gentlemen. 60 frames per second, which is awesome. It's also going to have super fast loading times that Square Enix has been showing off. And also, that DualSense controller will have that haptic feedback for mount footed steps and gathering options. Now, for existing PlayStation 4 players, they will get access to the beta for free, as well as new players who sign up for the game's free trial, which give them access to a full game plus the Heaven Sword expansion, allowing them to level up from 1 to 60. But after that, you're going to probably have to purchase the game. But here's how much it costs in general. For the standard edition, you get the Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn, the expansion pack, Heaven Sword, and a 30-day free play period for $20. So we're basically getting the standard edition for free, and of course you can get that complete edition for $60. You don't have to do that with this free expansion pack. We're in an open beta, so everything is basically going to be free, at least for right now, which is absolutely amazing. Now we're going to hop over to the PlayStation blog, and we're going to have basically a sit down with the people from Final Fantasy XIV to finish up some questions that you might have about the game. First off, let's start off with an open beta without limits. We've mentioned the start of our open beta a few times, but what exactly does that mean? Most importantly, this open beta doesn't mean limiting what you can play. Even if you haven't played Final Fantasy XIV on the PlayStation 4 yet, well, this is still the perfect time for those who own a PlayStation 5 to hop on in. So, during the open beta period, players who own a PlayStation 4 version of Final Fantasy XIV can experience all of the same content but on the PlayStation 5. The worlds or game servers that you connect to are the same ones that players on PlayStation 4 and other platforms are connecting to as well. And there's no restrictions from a functionality perspective for open beta participants. We are launching into an open beta as a precaution since there is a massive amount of existing content in Final Fantasy XIV. If we do not see any critical issues, we plan to transition straight into an official service. But what if you're starting fresh? Well, if you are starting fresh, the free trial version will also be available during the open beta on PlayStation 5. You can play A Realm Reborn and the first expansion pack, Heaven Sword, up to level 60. Worry not, your character, progress, and everything else will carry over to the full version of the game. The full version of PlayStation 5 will be available at the conclusion of the open beta, so we encourage new players who start the free trial to consider switching over to the full product version. But what exactly will this look like on the PlayStation 4? Well, we have exactly what we need. The different versions and how they're going to look according to your TV. The PlayStation 5 version will make Final Fantasy XIV look even better with new display options and improved frame rates. Here's some of the specifics. They're going to offer 3 different rendering resolutions to choose from on your PlayStation 5. 4K 2160p, WQHD 1440p, and a full HD 1080p, which will then be scaled up to match your TV's output. I wouldn't make a more sweeping generalization of these when there's so many different types of content in Final Fantasy XIV, but in general, WQHD 1440p and Full HD 1080p should run around the same 60 frames per second when doing normal gameplay, and even in 4K 2160p, you should see frame rates around 40 frames per second, significantly higher than the PlayStation 4 version. Of course, there are some instances where you have a few dozen to 100 people online at the same time. Even then, you still should be able to get around 30 frames per second, which is not bad. Now, what about the UI? Well, they've cleaned that up a lot. In addition to new resolution options, they've also updated the in-game menus and UI, so your inventory, armor, chest, and action bars look stunning as well. Final Fantasy XIV UI was originally intended for 720p, so naturally going to the PlayStation 5 version, each and every one of these different things that they're going to make it look beautiful, well, it's going to boost a resolution and tweak any part of the icons that they needed to by hand. Aside from the UI elements, things from like the font, well, they have a higher resolution as well. So overall, the whole UI looks a whole lot smoother, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what about the performance on the PlayStation 5? Well, it's going to be a whole lot faster. I'm fairly certain this might be one upgrade everybody's going to be excited about, because I'm going to be using the PlayStation 5 SSD, which will allow you to teleport between areas even faster. Now, they said, I'm sure if you look at the PlayStation 5 trailer, you've noticed that loading times are a whole lot faster when traveling between different areas using teleport. We actually get some code refactoring on the login process, etc. as well, so you should see a slightly more improvement on PlayStation 4 as well. Now that's pretty exciting to have faster loading times on PlayStation 4. And here it is, as you can see right here, it's just a matter of seconds before you are able to load into the new zone. Pretty exciting. Now, to make the most of the MMO, which is Final Fantasy XIV, you are playing it on console, so the controller needs to be updated. Final Fantasy XIV have had a full revamp of the controller, and now it's going to be even better than before. They worked this down to the wire, but they were able to get in some awesome haptic feedback controls for the PlayStation 5. This includes introducing unique haptic feedback, things like footsteps of various mounts, action for disciples of the land of hand, and more. When it comes to battle content, they have been deliberately keeping this at a bare minimum. For example, when players use limit break, they didn't want this to interfere with the players in a fight, so you won't see it there. But you will see it at certain parts in the game when they feel that it is needed to enhance your gameplay with these different haptic feedback, as well as adaptive triggers as well. So yeah, it's looking like Final Fantasy XIV is turning out to be a pretty beastly game. There is one more thing we need to talk about. That is the immersive sound experience. They talked about visuals so far, but what about the audio? They are utilizing the 3D audio outputs of the PlayStation 5 version of Final Fantasy XIV. Since their initial launch, ambient signs of Final Fantasy XIV were assigned different parameters such as audible range, but with the implementation of 3D audio features of the PlayStation 5, these settings can be fully leveraged. For example, whenever you change the position of the camera, the location of the surrounding ambient sound will shift accordingly, bringing you a more immersive experience. I would recommend trying using this out in a headset that supports 3D audio. I personally have a 3D headset audio, and depending on what game that you're using, it is phenomenal having that support. Now, but before we get out of here, there is one more thing that we need to talk about, and that is what else is there to look for in Final Fantasy XIV. They're thinking about eventually upgrading game textures and phrases and starting initial preparations for that update as we speak. However, they do want to keep in mind that other platforms, including PlayStation 4, are still in a live service in Final Fantasy XIV, so they just don't want to just jump into this. They want to take care of planning updates, and they're going to start testing things first before they verify this. So look for this to be out tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Final Fantasy XIV Open Beta is here for the PlayStation 5. We get to play all the way up to level 60, and yes, there will be the DLC, Heaven's Sword, there for free as well. And yeah, it's something to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how you feel about Square Enix games right now, but when it comes to Final Fantasy games, they do it very, very well. So get excited, ladies and gentlemen. We have a brand new beta starting tomorrow for the PlayStation 5. And yeah, enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen. But for right now, that's pretty much going in for the video. Hope you truly enjoyed it. Don't forget to enter into that Outriders giveaway. Links down below in the description. You hope watching these videos, I'm able to give back more. So thank you everybody who has been supporting the videos and the live stream. We'll be back to live streaming Outriders as soon as everything gets better. But until then, thank you for your love and support. And as always, I'll be seeing y'all in the next one.